Hello students, today we will talk about anti-anginal agents. The name angina pectoris denotes chest pain caused by accumulation of metabolites resulting from myocardial ischemia. Now the drugs organic nitrates, that is nitroglycerin, is a mainstay of the therapy of immediate relief of angina. Another group of vasodilators, we have calcium channel blockers, is also important, especially for prophylaxis, and beta blockers, which are not vasodilators, which are also useful drugs. The most common cause of angina is CAD, that is coronary artery disease, that is the atheromatous obstruction of the large coronary vessels. Inadequate blood flow in presence of CAD will result in effort angina, which is also called classic angina. And then there is another type that is called prismatic angina. Here the transient spasm of localized portion of the vessels which is associated with underlying atheromatous can cause significant myocardial ischemia and pain. So this is because of spasm, so it is also called vasospastic or variant angina. Now the primary cause of angina is thus the imbalance between oxygen requirement of the heart and the oxygen supplied to it via coronary vessels. Now in effort angina, the imbalance occurs when the myocardial oxygen is increased, especially during exercise, and the coronary blood flow is not increasing in that proportion, so that resulting ischemia leads to pain. Unstable angina, thus it is acute coronary syndrome, is said to be present when the episodes of angina occur at rest and when there is an increase in severity, frequency and duration of chest pain in patient with previously stable angina. The imbalance between oxygen delivery and myocardial oxygen demand can be corrected by decreasing oxygen demand or increasing delivery. So how we can do this? By increasing the coronary flow. In effort angina, the oxygen demand can be reduced by decreasing the cardiac workload, or you can shift the metabolism to substrates which require less energy, say less ATP produced. And then we have variant angina on the other hand. Here because of the spasm of the coronary artery, so spasm of the vessels can be reversed by using say nitrates or calcium channel blockers. And nowadays we have drugs from the lipid lowering category, that is the statins, which have become important in the long term treatment of atherosclerotic disease. Now first let us talk about the mechanism of action. Now here the control of smooth muscle contraction and the site of action of calcium channel blockers is shown. Now as you can see in the diagram, the contraction is triggered by influx of calcium. This can be blocked by calcium channel blockers by the transmembrane calcium channels. Now this calcium combines with the calmodulin to form calcium calmodulin complex. Now this complex converts the enzyme myosin light chain kinase to its active form. You can see MCLK star. So all the red arrows is leading to the contraction. Now this MCLK phosphorylates myosin light chain and thereby initiating interaction of myosin with actin, and interaction with calcium, interaction with myosin during the contraction cycle. Now here you can see from the blue arrows the beta 2 agonist and other substances, they will increase CAMP and they will cause relaxation in the smooth muscle by inactivation of MCLK and by facilitating the expulsion of calcium from the cell. Now this cGMP in turn facilitates the relaxation as shown in the figure. About the mechanism of action of nitrates and nitrites and other substances which cause increase in the concentration of NO. Now this nitric oxide, which is also coming from arginine, which is acted upon by epithelial nitric oxide synthase enzyme. So these nitrites cause increase in the concentration of NO. This NO combines with guanylyl cyclase and it will cause activation of GC, so you get GC star. Now this in turn will cause increase in the cGMP. The formation of cGMP, as we have seen previous slide, that this is the causing first step towards smooth muscle relaxation. We can say probably by accelerating inactivation of MCLK. So thus cGMP facilitates the relaxation of the muscular smooth muscle. Now we'll talk about basic pharmacology of drugs. The three drug groups we have just discussed: nitrates, calcium channel blockers and beta blockers decrease the myocardial oxygen requirement by decreasing the determinants of oxygen demand, which are heart rate, ventricular volume, blood pressure and contractility. In some patient, the nitrates and calcium channel blocker may cause redistribution of coronary flow and increase oxygen delivery to ischemic tissue. In variant angina, these two groups also increase the myocardial oxygen delivery by reversing the coronary artery spasm. Let us talk about the chemistry of nitrates and nitrites. These are the simple nitric and nitrous acid esters of polyalcohols. Nitroglycerine can be considered as a prototype. Now, the conventional sublingual tablet of nitroglycerine may lose potency when stored as a result of volatilization, so it should be kept in a tightly closed glass containers. And if you see the pharmacokinetics, our liver has a high capacity organic nitrate reductase that remove the nitrate groups in a stepwise fashion from the parent molecule and ultimately inactivate the drug. Therefore, the oral bioavailability of traditional organic nitrates, orally it is less, say typically 10 to 20%. So we have sublingual route that avoids the first pass effect. It is preferred to get the therapeutic blood level. Nitroglycerine and isosorbide dinitrate both are absorbed by this route so as to reach the therapeutic level within few minutes. However, the total dose administered should be limited to avoid the excessive effect. Therefore, the total duration of effect is just brief, that 15 to 30 minutes. Then we also have amyl nitrite and related nitrites, which are highly volatile. Amyl nitrite is available as a fragile glass in ampoules packaged in protective cloth covering. Once absorbed, the unchanged nitrate compounds have half-life of only 2 to 8 minutes. Then we have 5-mononitrate metabolite of isosorbide dinitrate is active metabolite of the drug, and this is available for oral use as isosorbide mononitrate, and the bioavailability is 100%. Let us talk about what are the actions in the smooth muscles and various organ systems. Nitric oxide, as we have just discussed, it causes increase in the cGMP, and that is the first step towards smooth muscle relaxation. Then we have organ system effects. Nitroglycerin relaxes all types of smooth muscles. So vascular smooth muscle, all the segments will be relaxed in response to nitroglycerin. Then primary effect is the marked relaxation of the veins. So you have increased venous capacitance and decreased ventricular preload. the pulmonary vascular pressure and heart size are reduced. In the absence of heart failure, the cardiac output is reduced. Because the venous capacitance is increased, the hypotension may be marked and syncope can be the result. Larger arteries through large veins relax in response to nitroglycerin, and other smooth muscles, relaxation of the smooth muscle of bronchi, GIT, including biliary system and genitourinary tract, have been demonstrated experimentally. Action on platelets, nitric oxide released from nitroglycerin stimulates guanylyl cyclase in the platelets. The increase in the cGMP is responsible for decrease in platelet aggregation. Now we talk about the other nitrovasodilators. We have important drug nicorandil. This is a nicotinamide nitrate ester which has vasodilating properties in normal coronary arteries but more complex effect in patient with angina. Clinical studies suggest that it reduces both preload and afterload. It also provides some myocardial protection via the activation of cardiac ATP channels. So now this drug is currently approved for the treatment of angina in Europe and Japan, and it has been submitted for approval in the USA. We'll talk about now calcium channel blocking agents. Calcium channel blockers are orally active agents. They are characterized by high first pass effect, high plasma protein binding, and extensive metabolism. Now the examples are verapamil and diltiazem. These are used also by IV route. Transmembrane calcium influx is necessary for the contraction of smooth muscle and cardiac muscle. So drugs act from the inner side of the membrane, bind more effectively to the channels and inactivate the channel. Binding of the drug reduces the frequency of the opening in response to depolarization. So the result is a marked decrease in the transmembrane calcium current, which in the smooth muscle results in the long-lasting relaxation. We have just discussed in the previous slides. Also, we have the organ system effects. First one is smooth muscle. Most of the times the smooth muscles are relaxed by these drugs. Effect on the cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle is highly dependent on calcium influx during the action potential for normal functioning. Impulse generation in the sinoatrial node and the conduction in the AV node, so-called slow response, or which are calcium dependent. So they will be reduced or blocked by all the calcium channel blockers. Now what is happening? Excitation, contraction, coupling, all these require calcium influx. So these drugs directly reduce cardiac contractibility, and in some cases cardiac output may also reduced. Now this reduction in the cardiac mechanical function is another mechanism by which the calcium channel blockers reduce the oxygen requirement. This is very important. And then we have the mechanism of clinical effects. The calcium channel blockers decrease the myocardial contractile force, which reduces myocardial oxygen requirements. Calcium channel block in the arterial smooth muscle decreases in the arterial and intraventricular pressure. Some drugs like verapamil, diltiazem also have non-specific anti-adrenergic effect, which may contribute to peripheral vasodilatation. As a result of all this effect, left ventricular wall stress declines, and that reduces the myocardial oxygen requirement. We will talk the clinical uses of calcium channel blocking agents. In addition to angina, they have well efficacy in hypertension and supraventricular tachyarrhythmia. But there is a contraindication. Combination of verapamil and diltiazem with beta blocker will produce AV block and depression of the ventricular function. So in presence of heart failure, all the calcium blockers will cause further worsening of the failure as a result of negative ionotropic effect. And the patient with unstable angina, the short-acting calcium channel blocker can increase the risk of adverse cardiac event, and therefore they are contraindicated. Now we will just see a table which will give us the clinical pharmacology of the calcium channel blockers. So we have the drugs from dihydropyridines category: amlodipine, felodipine, isradipine, nicardipine, nifedipine, nizoldipine, and nitrendipine. So we have the half-life, which is given in the hours, indications, and the dosage forms. So amlodipine, felodipine are in the dose of 5 to 10 milligram once daily orally. Then the isradipine is 2.5 to 10 milligram twice daily orally. Nicardipine is 20 to 40 milligram twice daily. Nizoldipine and nitrendipine are in 20 to 40 milligram orally once daily. And miscellaneous, we have diltiazem, verapamil, 75 to 150 microgram per kg IV. Drug, that is beta blockers. They are extremely useful in management of effort angina. The beneficial effect of beta blockers is due to decreased heart rate, blood pressure, and contractility, so which will decrease the myocardial oxygen requirement at rest and during exercise. Now the lower heart rate is also associated with increase in we will talk about beta blocking agents. Now beta blocking agents, except for carvedilol and nebivolol, they are not vasodilators, but they are extremely useful in the management of effort angina, and they produce their effects by decreasing the heart rate, blood pressure, and contractility, so that will automatically decrease myocardial oxygen requirement at rest and during exercise. Lower heart rate is also associated with increase in the diastolic perfusion time. That will increase coronary perfusion. However, reduction of the heart rate and blood pressure, and consequently the decreased myocardial oxygen consumption, appear to be the most important mechanism for the relief of angina. So, the agents decrease mortality of the patient with recent myocardial infarction, and they improve the survival and prevent the stroke in patient with hypertension. Undesirable effects include increase in end-to-end diastolic volume and increase in the ejection time, both of which tend to increase the oxygen requirement. So contraindications for the use of beta blockers are asthma, obviously because they will be blocking the beta receptors, and other bronchospastic conditions like bradycardia, atrioventricular block, and bradycardia, and severe unstable left ventricular failure. Now this is a table which can summarize the drugs in the angina pectoris. So we have nitrates, for example nitroglycerin and isosorbide dinitrate. Beta blockers, the drugs are propranolol, which is a non-selective competitive antagonist, atenolol, metoprolol, and others. They have less risk of bronchospasm. We have calcium channel blockers, and in miscellaneous we have ranazolene. Thank you, students. You can find the notes in the description, which I have given in the link